Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Planning and Development Council of the Town of Oakville. And Madam Clerk, I don't believe we have any regrets for this evening. Council, do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest? I see none. And are two of you willing to move and second a transfer into committee of the whole? Councillor Lapworth, Councillor Adams, all in favor? Opposed, if any? And we are now in the relaxed rules of the committee of the whole for better public consultation. There are no consent items on this agenda. In fact, this is a fairly short agenda. There are no public hearing items. We do have two discussion items, and the first is we have sorry, I should mention we have two confidential discussion items, and we have three advisory committee minutes. Now, the first discussion item is the recommendation report, the draft plan of standard condominium, Dundas 6-line developments, and that's Post Road, formerly 32 Dundas Street East. And if you give your attention to Ms. Musson, we will receive the summary that will help the public in knowing what we're doing.
Your Worship?
Councillor Knoll.
Since it's not a public hearing, if nobody's particularly interested in the report, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'd be prepared to move it at this point.
Ms. Musson, thank you for being here. Councillor Knoll has spared you. Councillor Adams.
I believe this is a property that we once had a inquiry regarding noise off of Dundas on. Can you tell us the history of noise and lack of noise walls and so forth on these properties?
Through you, Your Worship, I wasn't directly involved on the site plan as it relates to this particular development. The units fronting onto Dundas actually front onto Dundas. They have the front door, their walkway out to the street. So I think having a wall there wouldn't be appropriate. Through the site plan process, the region did enter into an agreement with the applicant that deals with noise, and that they would include those kinds of clauses within the purchase and sale agreement, which I understand they have done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Question, it's related to, I seem to remember a few months ago at committee, an individual came to committee about a site in this area where she could not stop her car to even put the child into the house or something, and to walk from the first level underground, she had to go up the ramp, and it was hard getting up the ramp with the cars coming down because of the radius was too tight. Is this the same design? Do we know? Like, is there an elevator moving people from the underground to the ground level?
Through Your Worship to the councillor, there are a number of stairwells within the underground which provide access into the site. I could ask the applicant to confirm whether or not there's an elevator, and the applicant is available this evening.
Yeah, I'd be pleased to ask him, because I'm just trying to understand, because I remember the individual was quite upset because to push the stroller up the steps was kind of hard with a baby in it, and she had to use the underground ramp. Thank you.
Can I ask where you're going with this?
Based on what Councillor Knoll just told me, I'm not going anywhere. I just hope in the future we do a better job of planning. If it's already built, I guess we're not going to change it. And there is no elevator. And I guess if you want to push a stroller with your groceries, you have to go up the down ramp. So that's the design. Thank you.
It's properly moved by Councillor Knoll. Any more questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed, if any? There's no one here. Any members of the public with information on this item? I ask for form's sake, but there's still nobody. Okay. All right. Next is item number 2, and this is a recommendation report for the draft plan of standard condominium at Northcote Properties on Ford Drive. And Ms. Musson, are you on this one as well?
Yes.
Then let me turn to Councillor Giddings, who will ask on behalf of a distinguished resident of Southeast Oakville, a neighbor of this area, who is in attendance tonight, and he had 3 questions about this matter. and he would like to hear, I think he knows what the answers are, but he'd like to hear them. And Councillor Giddings.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Greetings, Mr. Fiorelli, Mr. Watson. Do you have the note that came in as part of the package?
Yes, I do.
All right. There were 3 questions. Before I get to that, if I could ask one of them. You and I talked some time ago when the project first went up. Because of the nature of the design, it appears to be 2 stories. And that will remain 1 story, is my understanding. That they can't put a divider, a horizontal divider or any such thing in there because it's maxed out in terms of square footage, I believe.
Through your worship to the councillor, the way the zoning bylaw was written many years ago, it allowed for a 2-story building and 1,000 square meters of floor space. So the building was built in compliance with the bylaw. So the footprint of the building is 1,000 square meters. The height is equivalent to a 2-story building, but it is designed to be 1 story. So there isn't a second level. If a future owner wanted to put a second level into that building, hence increasing the floor area, it would not comply with the bylaw in terms of the floor area. Therefore, a planning process would be required, variance or a zoning amendment would be required, which is a public process. And it would be circulated to various neighbors. But at this point in time, there is no second floor proposed.
All right, and you have a copy of the questions there. Would it be all right with you if I left those with you to reply?
Sure. I guess one of the issues that was raised was with regards to the existing zoning restrictions. So I just gave you a brief overview with respect to that. This condominium application, when it came in, it was circulated to our zoning staff. And through that review, zoning staff has confirmed with me that the site does comply with the zoning bylaw. So as it sits today, the site does comply. In terms of to maintain the covenants as it relates to the subject land, a lot of those covenants were dealt with no development within a certain distance of, beyond a certain distance of the intersection. The development as proposed and as approved through the site plan, and they received final site plan approval in 2014, respects those covenants. There's been no changes to the covenants that I'm aware of. So the owner was built in accordance, the development was built in accordance with those covenants. In terms of the maximum number of commercial units, the site plan application did have 7 commercial uses proposed. The development in the condo shows 7 commercial units, so that hasn't changed either.
So given the long history, all the protection remains in place, and it won't be an easy process for them to do anything under the cover of darkness.
Yeah, through you, Your Worship, the site, as it's been constructed, complies with the zoning bylaw. If there's ever a change or proposed change, then it would be through a committee of adjustment or rezoning, and could potentially be back before you to make the decision in that. But there hasn't been I haven't had any discussions with anybody with respect to changing the zoning bylaw on this site.
I think the only missing element here is, in Mr. Fiorelli's note, he wanted to be assured that the various protections could not be removed. And if I repeat you correctly or interpret you correctly, not without a public process involving council would be the answer.
That's correct.
So so I think that, I believe that covers your questions, or at least it certainly is the best answers we can get you. I'm sorry? So I repeat, there's no change possible without a public process involving council. In other words, people can always apply for stuff that they don't have the right to under our Planning Act in Ontario. We're not required to give it to them, but we can't stop them from applying. But all 3 of you are very familiar with that. We've worked over the years, all of us, on many a case where that has been the case. All right, so with that, I'll look for a motion. Councillor Giddings, so we need to modify the motion slightly in accordance with the memo that you got to add that notice of council's decision reflects that comments received from the public have been appropriately addressed. So I'm assuming you're moving as amended. Councillor?
Move as
you need a second.
amended or revised, by all
As
means.
revised, I'll call it. Thank you. So, all in favor? Opposed, if any, and that is carried. Now, unless there's a need for questions or changes, I don't believe that we need to go into camera to consider C1 and C2. And if I'm right, I'll look for a motion. Councillor O'Meara, okay, all in favor? Thank you. And that brings us to the advisory committee minutes. And who wants to move the minutes? Councillor Lischina is moving items 3, 4, and 5, the minutes from Livable Oakville, Heritage Oakville, and Livable Oakville's other meeting. All those in favor? Opposed, if any, and that carries. We now need a motion to rise and report to council. Councillor Knoll, all in favor? Opposed, if any? Thank you. I rise and report that the Committee of the Whole has met and made recommendations on discussion items 1 and 2, confidential discussion items C1 and C2, and advisory committee minutes items 3, 4, and 5, as noted by the clerk. Mover and seconder for the report would be in order. Councillor Elgar and Councillor Grant, all in favor? That carries. The report is approved. Is there any new business for council tonight? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for the bylaws? Councillor Lapworth and Councillor Chisholm, did I see your hand? All in favor? Opposed, if any? The bylaws are adopted. That completes our agenda. Thank you for your time and attention. It's been great working with you, and congratulations to our staff and all the other municipalities who were involved in the wonderful victory in divisional court over the Ontario Municipal Board, where the board got told that they don't get to interfere in a municipal right to set parkland dedication. This is extremely important for everybody who wants the future growth of Southern Ontario to include parks. So all around good job. Thank you. And we're adjourned.